Um, Thank you all for being here. We are going to do the All Black Everything Roundtable, which we have Thursdays 8 p.m. Eastern. We have a fantastic group of guests here. Going to introduce them, but first, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe because they'll become a YouTube member. Hitting that join button, supporting the channel that way. If you love having this content, if you enjoy all the things that we do for you, then be so kind, help us out and become a YouTube member. And hit that join button. Okay. We are going to start with. I start with the worst. So Eli Monty, thank you for coming through, for being a part of this. We're happy to have you around. Eli, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic. How is everybody doing? That's great. Yeah, my name is Nadi Laimonti. I am a leftist, and yeah, I'm also a huge nerd, as you can probably see from my office here. Uh, I stream usually Thursday through Sunday. So hop on over to twitch.tv/Nadi Laimonti, and that's also my name on basically any other platform you want to check out if you don't think I'm horrible. So.
Yep. Thank you so much. All right. Second worst up next. Bam. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten about you. Bam. Thank you for being here, buddy. Glad to have you around. Bam, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. It always feels special. Like as long as you hate me, that I know I'm doing something right. So, yeah, what's up, y'all? Bam. I'll be here all the time. Y'all know who I am, and this is gonna be another good conversation where I'm getting right as always.
Like the positive attitude.
And now, in no particular order, we have Jamali. Jamali, thanks for coming through, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I am streaming now on YouTube. I try to keep political stuff that I do now separate from my Twitch completely. So you guys can find me on YouTube at Jamali GG. And that's why I'll be doing a lot of this stuff. All of these things will be uploaded afterwards, including other topics that I talk about, usually Wednesday through Friday. So you can check us out there.
Thank you. D10 Dream is here with us again. Happy to have him. D10.
I'm great to be here. I feel so. It's been like 4 weeks, damn near, since I've been here, and I've been looking forward to this day again. The debates is always lit when it's out here, and once again, it's doing our dream, feel me, and finna give you the best takes that your life has ever heard.
Okay, all right. We got my man GSU Gambit here with us again. I'm definitely happy to have. GSU, I know you've been quite busy lately, but thank you for making time for us. Spending us in your very, very busy schedule.
Yeah, man, I'm happy. It's been quite a while since I've been here, and I didn't have a scheduling conflict this week. So I'm happy to be here, man. This is ABE. Y'all already know I love this. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad today. I'm sure that Eli is going to control himself, so it'll be fine. But yeah, this is going to be dope, man. I'm ready for
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just playing, bro. I'm just playing.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, all right. And last but not least, right, making his triumphant return, we got I call him Fanatic. You call him Mister. All right. Fanatic is back with us. Fanatic, thank you for being here, buddy.
Oh, hell no.
This Super Mario World? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Enter like Dio.
God. I wish I was on that level and I could make an intro like that. God damn. Fanatic, thank you for being here, man. We've missed you. The crowd has missed you. Everyone's missed you. How are you doing, buddy?
That was the intro. That was it.
Okay. All right.
Enough said.
Okay, and hopefully we'll have one other person join us, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I'm moving forward. We'll start with this topic on request from my man Fanatic. Do you think there are any responsibilities within a hetero relationship that simply belong to a man? Would you be okay if a woman was the main provider for your family? If she was a more skilled fighter, would it be okay if she defended the family when there was trouble? Would you be fine with a woman proposing to you? If you are a woman, how do you feel about taking on these roles? And we had some women scheduled, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. So up to you, men. Yeah. What do you feel about reversing gender roles? And I've got a few of these examples. So we'll start with Bam.
I think that like there's two ways this conversation can go. We can take the really boring route of saying some hypothetical truth, like hypothetically anyone in any relationship can do anything, which obviously is true to some degree. But in the world we live in, with the dynamics that exist, or not the dynamics, but with like it basically in reality, there are probably some things that a man in a like heteronormative relationship should take up, like defending his family, like protecting his family. Not necessarily finances. I think anyone can have a job, but the concepts of chivalry. I don't think these things are bad for society. I don't think they should be dead as concepts. And yeah, it's okay to have pride in men being men. We shouldn't. It doesn't have to be like all of masculinity isn't toxic, and there's things that men should be proud of and should seek to uphold.
Eli.
Yeah. So, I don't necessarily know if if men necessarily like there is something that like we have to do in a relationship. I think in the way in which society is shifting now, we're kind of seeing that like things that were traditionally done by men in relationships in many cases are now also done by women in relationships, including like, heteronormative relationships. Um, Personally, if like if she's a better fighter than me, yeah, 100% defend the household. Because if she's a better fighter than me, then why am I defending? Like, we gonna die. So yes, please, defend the household. I at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic was a house husband because of the way in which my career was going, and I did not mind that one bit. Not saying that I like necessarily want to go back to that, but like I tend to view things from like an equal perspective when it comes down to relationships. Like whatever I can do, typically Paige can do as well, and vice versa. Of course, until you get down to like maybe like the physical things such as like childbirth and stuff like that. Maybe obviously I can't do that. But yeah, I really don't see a problem with women taking charge. As a matter of fact, I have been asked out by multiple women, not necessarily proposed to. I did propose to my fiance, but I've been asked out throughout my life by multiple women, and I think it's hot when women take like the initiative. So,
Yes, you.
Yeah, yeah, Eli doesn't listen to enough Jordan Peterson. But no, I'm joking. But no, I think men should strive to be the provider. Given career paths or career opportunities, some people are going to be in a situation where their spouse makes more. I don't think there's a problem with that at all. I think that men, however, should be striving to try and make more. I think that men should try to be the lead in that type of thing. I think men should try to be the lead in like defending the home. I would say even if you're dating a woman that seems to fight better, we know that there are physiological differences between men and women. So even if she fights better, there are situations where, things can go really, really bad regardless. So it'd be weird to me to be like looking at my spouse defending the home and I'm just sitting idly by. That seems mind-blowingly insane. But for the men that do that, they're probably in the cup. So, hit me up and, we can figure some stuff out. But would I be fine with a woman proposing? Probably not. That seems really cringe to me. That seems really, really cringe. But I do like what Eli did say, like women taking initiative on certain things. That's cool, but like proposing is would be weird, and I would definitely probably catch the nearest flight away from me. So yeah.
Fanatic.
Whew. I'm glad this is the all black panel because then we get to really talk about some things, and y'all probably gonna hate my takes. But I think that there is this thing that has happened over time with society due to systemic oppression and things like that, in which we've kind of like emasculated the black men, like the society has emasculated black men, and we've kind of masculinized, or whatever that word is, Black women. And while we complain about like the way their images are portrayed or the way society perceives them, a lot of this kind of stuff is because of different things. Like not having a father in the home, a mother has to become a protector and so on and so forth. Women have to become providers if there's not a father there, you know what I mean, to actually keep up his end of the bargain. And in some cases, I think Black men have failed their families, but in some cases, I think society has failed Black men and so on and so forth. So me personally, I think I'm always going to strive towards making sure that I subscribe to traditional gender roles. I genuinely want to be the primary provider. I want to be the primary protector. I love the fact that my girlfriend should, or an eventual wife, should be able to rest in her femininity. And I think Black women in general should be able to do that. I think someone said something that was brilliant to me, that chivalry, it was a knight's code, and it didn't really necessarily have to do with women. Like, we should be deciding as men to be able to be responsible and taking care of these things. Some of these things were out of biological necessity, and a lot of that stuff has disappeared. But I still think that those codes and those societal implications are beneficial for children to be able to model after and things like that. So I think it's probably the best way. Not that nobody else can do anything different, but I just think it is the best way. So that's what I stand with.
Okay, you want to know?
I do think like most things either man or woman can do. Like I think in a consensual relationship amongst adults, if you want to do something and you both agree to it, I don't think it should matter what anyone else thinks about it. As long as it makes you happy and it works out for you, that's all that matters. But I do think like if you want a family, obviously the woman has to give birth, and so that is a critical point in time where the man is obligated, has to, forced to, because there's no other choice, to be the sole provider. And that's where Gambit is, I agree with Gambit that men should be striving to be the, like to make a lot of money because of that instance, And I do think that both people should have jobs, because injuries could happen at any point. And so if I have an injury, my wife can take care of me. My wife, if I have an injury, I can take care of her. Because injuries, you never know what happens. And for me personally, I feel like it should be whoever makes the most money should be paying for most things. Like if I make the most money, which I am right now, currently in my relationship, I'm paying for everything right now. But as soon as my wife becomes my girlfriend becomes a doctor, she's gonna pay for everything. It's that simple. But yeah, so I would be okay if she was a main provider. If she was a more skilled fighter, it doesn't matter, because strength matters. So if she's more skilled, she's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter, because she could still be weak. But if she is stronger and more skilled, then sure, she should protect me, because I'm this frail ass dude by her. So yeah, there's some really skinny, frail dudes out there that's with big, strong women, and I don't see nothing wrong with that. I would have actually liked being proposed to. Like, I asked my girlfriend, what's wrong with proposing to me? She's like, no, that's embarrassing. I'm like, why do you care about what other people think so much? Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't know why people care about what other people think. Like, if you love me just as much as I love you, what's wrong with you proposing to me, like me proposing to you? Like, I even offered, let's propose to each other at the same time. Like, what's wrong with that? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with proposing to each other.
Jamali.
So I mean, I look at it in a way that life is sort of like if you were to pick a class, and you pick a class, and so you're gonna be more likely to be like proclivative to one particular stat, but you decide to take that and go another route with it. You could always be that min-max there, obviously, and go something that leans into you, like maybe you're a rogue, so you be more sneaky, okay, instead of being the one that talks. And I think that there's obviously everyone has the option to either be the provider or not the provider. Everyone has the option in today's world to make money or be the one not making money, tending to the home. The gender normativity of it comes from an older world that was pretty much power dominates everything, is held by the people who have the most resources. People who have the most resources, strength, yada yada yada, all that stuff. That isn't necessarily that isn't as necessary as it is now. I don't think that having women be or femme people be in more, I guess, as we would put it, masculine situations, being the breadwinner, the provider for the family and stuff like that. The defending the family, I don't know. Everyone should be trying to defend the family. It shouldn't be on one person. Like whether you can fight or you can't get a gun. I don't know. Like we live in America. Fuck, like it doesn't matter what your sex is when you're breaking down my door. If I point this at you, you will stop charging me. I think that proposing is sort of who cares. I don't really necessarily agree with the institution of marriage as it is, but if you're gonna get married, it doesn't matter who's proposing. It's irrelevant. I think the greatest benefits to marriage is like financial gains. But other than that, like
What?
that's pretty much like I don't see much of a point for marriage. There's legal on paper reasons why marriage would be important, like in terms of property handling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really see why else it would exist. I mean,
do you think that there's any stability? There's any more stability to be found in marriages than in non-marriage monogamous relationship?
I think that we have a society that's modeled in a way to lend to more support for married people. So I think that even in a case where we would have the ability to remove that support, whether or not a society or a culture that lends to more like community-based things and just necessarily being one with each other and not necessarily like married or hard set off into these nuclear families, we would probably see some level of, if not the same level of cohesion that we see with these sorts of families.
I agree with him because
I really
it's like,
do.
you shouldn't need to be in a marriage in order for you to like behave in a way that you would behave when you're married. Like,
I disagree entirely. I don't think why would I commit to that degree if I'm not saying that there's something that's guaranteeing that we're committed at that level? How do you distinguish between the dating stage where you're trying to figure something out and the commitment that typically is associated?
I don't know. You communicate with them.
Because look, why would you get married to them if you're not already committed on that level already?
Yeah,
wait,
that's
like
Fanatic,
can I ask you something? Can I ask you something, Fanatic? What's the difference between what do you think defines a marriage? Let me ask that. What do you think defines a marriage?
I think, for religious people, it obviously is now like this long-term commitment before God that the intent is to end up being married.
Can I get a more agnostic answer?
I was going to answer both. So that one is up there, and then also for secular people, I think on top of all of the legal benefits, it is a formal declaration of a commitment towards being together and like taking the relationship to the next level, where there are greater expectations and things like that, which is why you'll see in certain relationships people can be together as a couple for sometimes 10-15 years, but then when they get married they get separated within 6 months or a year after 15 years of relationship, because with that marriage comes a greater expectation, and then those expectations like shine a light on the fact that you're actually beneath the bar of what I expected, and once I got married I was expecting those things to happen and they're not happening, and now I realize that we're not compatible. Does that make sense?
Or they break up because as soon as they get married,
I have a hard time believing that you could be with someone for 15 years and not have like your expectations completely either checked out or like for the most part like they're solid.
What?
Like you get married at 15 years and all of a sudden you find out that something about them is not acceptable. Like that's a little weird.
Right, yeah.
No, I'm
probably
sorry. Just to make
change
sure.
after 15 years.
Let me try. Let me. Well, I mean, it's crazy to just say that they changed immediately after 15 years.
Yeah, because I'm married. I'm gonna get you half your money now as soon as we get divorced.
I think more so. Well, no, it's not, because you still would need like 10 years of a marriage in order to get like a decent amount of money in California. But anyway, the point being, I think what it is, and I think this is more rational and more logically consistent, the idea that once you get married, you now have different expectations. So whereas like what you were doing before, like whatever, I was willing to tolerate that because I didn't have the expectations associated with a marriage. But now that the marriage is here, I'm saying you're not keeping up your end of the bargain, and now this is intolerable for me, and we can't just go back to regular of just not married and back to this relationship.
True. That's not true. It just depends on how your marriage operates. Like
But that's true for a lot of people. I'm not saying this is true every time. I'm saying this is true for a lot of people. Are you saying that that's not the case?
No, I'm saying Jamali is talking about marriage is not necessarily the case. Like, it's not necessary to have this type of relationship. That's what Jamali is saying.
Yeah.
You're saying obviously
that marriage is in a way a bit arbitrary rather than something like, because I think in many cases when we think of marriage, we think of like a binding contract where you stand in front of, like, go to the courthouse, sign a paper where you stand in front of like your entire families, and then all of a sudden you're married. But I would argue that in many cases, before that even happens, in many cases people are already married because they have like committed to being together, just the two of them. Being, in many cases, not necessarily, they don't have to necessarily be mutually exclusive. In many cases, you can have a polyamorous marriage.
I don't think
they have committed to each other, and they live together. They live their lives together. They their finances might be merged, maybe not to the extent that you get, like the benefits that you get.
What's your overall point that you're trying to make right now?
I'm just trying to see, like, I just feel like when we talk about marriage, or at least the way in which I guess Fanatic was talking about it, the way in which that it was coming off to me.
The way that it's widely talked about all.
It's actually illegal to be married to more than one person in America.
Okay. Well, yeah.
He said
polyamorous. It's not polyamorous relationship.
Not polygamy. Those are two different things.
It's illegal, right?
Yeah.
Illegal?
But polyamory is different from polygamy. So, like,
yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. God, I lost my train of thought when that happened. We'll come back to it.
Okay, so here's
can
the
I
point.
say something while
Fanatic, what you're saying is, in the status quo today, when people get married, they have different sets of values, and therefore their expectations are higher. What we're saying is, that's their choice to make. It doesn't have to be that way. Marriage doesn't force you to be that way. That's just what you think marriage is, and that's why.
Yeah, nobody's saying it
I mean, that's society.
Okay. And so what we're saying is, you don't need marriage to have different high set of standards. Just have that already
with your partner. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, and I get now we've been talking past each other this entire time because what you guys are saying is that it's not necessary, and I agree with you. It isn't necessary. What I'm saying is that this is the most common perception of what marriage is. And so while you can say you don't have to have it that way, you don't have to believe that way. Sure, you don't have to, but this is the way most people believe, and this is the most regard and respect that people have for marriage that differs from other monogamous relationships. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that. That's just a matter of fact. No one's going to disagree with that.
And I think I think the other thing with what marriage does is in the society we live in, marriage like requires a social threshold of it creates a threshold of like what you're buying into. People have had boyfriends and girlfriends since they were 7 years old, or for some people, like you can do that really young, and there's always an out. Like, oh, okay, like even if we live together, like I live with my girlfriend currently, but we've both admitted that we are, like, even though we're living together and we share finance, we are not ready for marriage, because marriage in society is seen as like first a heavy level social commitment. They're like, oh, okay, this is it. Like I'm not thinking about being like, there's no possibility of being with someone else in my life. I'm locking down. The other thing that it does is it locks together your finances in a way that like boyfriend and girlfriend just doesn't do. You now combine debts. So like if you're yeah,
no
like
way.
now her debt is your debt now, and like you're on the hook for that for the rest of your life.
What about a prenup? Can that fix that? Can I say my debt is my debt, your debt yours?
No, a prenup just means like when you guys get separated, like that's how you divide shit up when you get separated.
There's probably ways, but I'm not sure what they would be.
You're telling me there's no way for me to not have debt for my
you
wife.
can
you're right. You don't think you're in med school?
Yeah, relationship.
Boy.
No, there's legal ways to be able to make sure that your debt stays separate. But then within the marriage, the debt and everything will be tied into the estate. So then, like, so then if, like, for example, I got X amount of student loan debt, and then we end up separating. If we've already began paying on that thing together and we didn't do any kind of prenup, we will be together. But I can actually make thing exclusive to me and stuff. That you can legally do it. There's a way. But 9 times out of 10, if you're going into the marriage in that way, then it already is. Some people feel like that's a sign of, like the intention of something.
And that's what I don't like. Why are people so anti-prenup? It's so dumb to me.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Like, I asked my girlfriend, I was like, I think a prenup is smart for both of us. And she's like, you're already planning for failure. I said, you wear a seatbelt, don't you? Doesn't mean we don't plan to crash. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, but
I
back on
hate that.
topic though. As far as like the masculinity and things, right? Like I don't, or what I call the emasculate,
Emasculating a black
masculinization
man.
of women. I don't like that, and the reason is because I think there is a femininity that is like kind of that we already recognize, because it's not just us in society that sees the idea of like women being like kind of the homemakers and men being the people that work and so on and so forth. It's just that this happens to be kind of reversed, right? Like freaking degree, attaining degrees for black women is higher than for black males. There are more black women out earning black men than in other relationships, although the majority of black men do still out earn their black women. But I think all of these things are like kind of masculine. And I think you can tie these things into different levels of
Why?
oppression and stuff, right?
Yeah,
And
Hold
because-
on.
I think these
What?
things
So
are.
let's
going
go
to
to
school
hold
is
on,
bad?
hold on.
on.
Let's go to
I think
GSU
those are
first.
neutral things.
Let's go to
I think-
GSU first, and then I want to.
I think it's also intentional by those that make legislation and blah 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 to have it this way. I don't think what we're existing in right now is unintentional.
I mean, hold
Like
on.
it's literally let's lock up and take black men out of the home, and let's give women as many economic opportunities as we can, which will erode the black family. So this is like
I think that's an
So
oversimplification.
when black women get educated,
no, it's
the
meant to
black
be a
family.
simplification. Yeah,
So when black women get educated, the black family suffers.
is
No.
that what I said?
I think
mean,
that
that's kind of what it
Did you
sounded
truly-
like.
Did you
What you and
Nobody's
Fanatic
saying
said.
that
Did
at
you hear
all.
the other component
I
that's
mean, y'all said
necessary?
that going to school is apparently a
Did you hear the
masculine
other-
thing.
Nobody's
No,
saying that, Eli.
Nobody
have
said
a-
that.
I could have
Eli,
swore Fanatic said that, like, that's
Eli, hold on,
masculine.
hold on. No, Eli, hold on. If you're not understanding everybody else's, you should stop talking, and then you should let us talk, so you'll start to understand, right? So let's hold your hand through this. There were two components to what was said. What was said was bringing the black man down and raising the women at the same time. Just raising up women is a great thing, but when you also do it in a world where you're suppressing black men, that's when it becomes problematic, and when all of these issues arise.
I think there's probably some level of truth to that. But I
Some
think
level
a
of
better,
truth?
yeah, I think a better explanation for for what's happening in our society, at least in the black community, is generally black men are seen, like the black people we see successful in society are through routes that don't generally require education. So like I know a lot of black, but
That's just not true.
no, I'm saying,
what?
hold on. Let me just finish this point. I'm saying that we see a lot of black people. We see a lot of like young
Sports
black
and
people
entertainment.
put their exactly sports and entertainment. That's what they put their time into.
Right, we heard
And then
that we
all-
all got that in the first place, but why is that?
I mean, yeah, sure. No, that's what I'm saying. That's the level of truth. I think that's the surface level of truth that I agree with Gambit. But the next step from that isn't that like, oh, black men would be capable, would or want to get this education, but the system isn't allowing to. Is where black men are growing up in a system where we don't want to get the education, and black women are just more. Basically, they assume that like, oh, okay, education is the way I'm going to get out. While like I said, rapping may be the way that a black man sees himself getting
But
out.
no, it's not. It's not just people in sports and entertainment. I think there's a great amount of reasons for this. Number one, like if you look at it, like people tend to emulate the things that they saw their parents do, whereas men very often in certain households were required to like provide. So from the time that you're young, you're automatically told that you have to be providing in a black family, and so then when you're not, when it hasn't been. While the black men were providing in these scenarios, black women were able to go to school and get degrees. This is how it was with my parents. My mother went to school at one point while my dad was just the provider, like early on in their marriage, or at least that was her desires. So then when that happens, then it makes all the sense in the world that she would have a degree and he wouldn't. So then when you have that happen generationally, when the next generation comes along, then they recognize mom got degrees. So then the girls are already emulating their mothers and recognizing my mother got degrees, so I want to get degrees as well. And so then this is why you end up having this mismatch, because from a very young age, black men are told to work, are told to like whatever, whereas school is sometimes a delay of being able to work, right? Because you're expected to provide immediately. So that's where these things happen.
I agree with that too. I think that's also part of it.
I just want to ask, what is Fanatic and Gambit? What do you guys think is?
Please don't ask it in bad faith. Your voice is just telling me that.
I'm not. I'm just curious.
Okay, I'm listening.
What do you think is like a trait of like, or what makes someone masculine?
I'll let you have a Gambit if you want.
Yeah, I would say aggression. I would say there's a bunch of traits that are more masculine that I think than feminine. And I think that it's okay to embrace those things and learn how to control them rather than this world where we try to emasculate ourselves and act like that's not what the game is.
I think that you
Particularly
can
when
use a
it,
better example than aggression. What about courage? What about pride? What about
How is
Well,
that
sure.
courage and pride are masculine?
Well, here, no, I can
yes,
break it
women
down.
can
I can
have
break
those
it down.
things, but that doesn't
Can,
make it
can,
not masculine.
can we expound on what he was saying? I think I can steelman it a little bit. What the thing is, typically what those things are they are played to they're played towards male strengths, right? So like as far as things like male having more physical strength than like females, right? And so then since that is a quality that's more inherent to males, then displaying that quality in a competitive way would be something that's more masculine
yeah.
Courage and pride.
no, hold on.
Or
First, the first thing you were talking about was aggression, right?
Else
So then,
can't keep it, yeah.
so then, with aggression, the reason why that is because that's being able to be forceful and competitive with this thing that is a male trait, which is physical strength, right?
And
And so then, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
So then with that being said, that's why that would be something that would be considered masculine. Whereas for feminine, it would be things like being supportive of males in that capacity and so on and so forth. When it comes to courage and pride, courage is basically just the willingness to step past your fear in order to put yourself in the place of being a protector and so on and so forth, right? And in that kind of some types of courage, right? And so then when you would think, well, we've always kind of put that role on men because men were more able to protect. Men are seen in society as supposed to have the role of protection. So then that courage is masculine in that regard. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I would
So
say the aggression thing too. Hold on one second. To expand on that a little bit, like what that looks like in play, just to show like an implementation of it, is things like salary negotiation. Like we see that men are far more disagreeable and they will ask for more and will demand more or leave or create other things. And women don't do that as much. And I've specifically talked to a lot of my close friends about things like that. And they've like their careers have skyrocketed when they embrace being able to disagree, which is unfortunate. They have to be in a situation somewhere.
okay,
But
so
yeah,
would
But
you?
hold on, do you
I
think
gotta
that
push
these
back to
things
that.
stop?
I gotta
Hold
push
on,
back to that.
stop on.
Okay.
Do you think these things are innate? Right, so you're calling them masculine and feminine. So
I think
you're sorting these different qualities there because of whatever
I
reason,
would
right?
say this. I would say Jamali gave an example of we're picking our wild character, right? I think the class of men have more points in aggression than women on average, which is bared out by all of the psychological data. But so I think that is why, to what Fanatic said, that's what makes us males be able to embrace it and go further with it.
So hold on, okay. Like you brought up the idea of negotiating, right?
hmm
But we live in a society that discourages women from being assertive, right? Like assertive women are called bitches, right?
No.
Assertive
Bitchy,
women.
bitchy women are called bitches.
Yeah.
No,
Women.
And bitchy
women,
men are
women,
called bitches too.
What?
To
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
I-
that's right. Hold on, sorry,
Absolutely.
hold on. I can't deal with that right now.
Yeah.
I'll deal with that later. But yeah, assertive women are called bitches, right? We tell women to take up as less space as little space as possible and to look pretty while doing it. And then into that, and from that social context, you come into a situation where you have to negotiate, and you're told to more or less accept it. Be more agreeable, right, rather than
Yeah.
disagreeable. So that's you
I,
would agree that's not
I get
innate.
what you're saying,
So-
and I would say,
So
I
I
would
would.
say
I just wanted
this.
to
Hold
ask.
on, hold on.
Can he respond?
Yeah, I'm responding probably now that you go. But
Okay.
well, I would say two things. I would say that when you listed out how you feel about women being suppressed or whatever in that way, I think what is quickly forgotten is that this culturally is influenced by men and women, and I think that that's the case. And I think when we get on these panels, we call it like patriarchy and all of this, but women embrace more agreeable roles as well. So I think both of those things are true. I don't think well, women are somewhat disregarded in that way, but I think it's because they're not willing to go to the level of aggression that men will. Like, I'm gonna tell somebody, "Hey, you're gonna give me whatever the fuck I want, or I'm just not working. I'm gonna go find another job." And a lot of people don't have that like aggression, and specifically in females, I don't see that as much for sure.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I would
it's
say.
not-
I
I
guess
would
I
say.
disagree.
Not
That's a
necessarily
function of
I would.
aggression.
So I would say.
It's
I would
not
actually
necessarily
say.
a bad. It is aggression.
Hold
But
on.
it's not a bad thing.
I
Or
would
a
say.
good thing.
I would say that in many cases, when we talk about like women having to be more agreeable and what have you. There's a lot of truth. Basically, like, there was nothing wrong with what Prime said. There was nothing but fact there. In many cases, I would even argue that women are talked over by men in many situations, in many social circles. I do it sometimes.
Men
as a
talk
man, and I
over
don't
men
mean
too, though.
to.
Men talk over
Right.
men too. There's
Right.
a certain level.
But-
Wait, there's a you know you see how I'm making you stop. There's a certain level of aggression, and they talk over.
Oh, I'm
but-
doing it right now.
But
Proving his point.
because like I wasn't done with my
I know,
point.
I know.
No, but
I was
that's the
making-
point
I
he's
was-
making.
no, no,
It's
That's
over his
the
head. It's over
point
his
he's
head.
making.
Just move past it.
No,
It's over his head. He's missing it. He's missing it. It's okay.
Just go,
I
Eli.
wasn't-
He's
Shoot.
talking over you. He's talking.
I was
over
gonna
you.
say that it's not really great when men talk over each other either. Like, it's just that we expect less of it from women, and when they do it, we often call them bitchy. When a woman is assertive, we call her bitchy. When a woman is outspoken or acts how some like to say independent or what have you, from men typically we call them bitchy. We degrade them in many in many ways and what
Are you
have
saying that? Are you saying that those things don't get hurled at men? Have you seen the comments on YouTube when me and Fanatic are on panels and we're doing the thing where we make y'all stop and listen? They talk bad about us too,
Wait,
right?
Say, explain what you mean. Explain what you mean, because I think I know what you're talking about. But go ahead and flesh it out.
You're trying to paint this world as if it's men oppressing women, but it's really
many
this
cases it is.
certain level of men is oppressing everybody. Like all of y'all can get it. Like if you're talking and you're trying to make your point, and I want to talk, you should shut the hell up. No, I'm joking, but I'm trying to make my point because you missed it early. But like the level of men that are aggressive in that way, they're aggressive that way with everybody, not particularly women. They're aggressive that way with
Right.
everybody.
But it's the thing is though, I feel like we're more aggressive when it comes down to women. Yeah, 100%. We are way more aggressive when it comes down to women, and when it comes because like I never hear a dude call another dude a bitch because he was talking over him. Usually what happens is like what's going on with this panel right now. Dudes just sit there like elephant seals trying to.
What meeting have you been in? What meeting have you been in where the nigga was like, "Shut up, I'm talking"? That don't happen in real life.
Okay, so wait. Okay. Can I just say? I want to say that. Let me say something. Okay. So I think what Eli is trying to say that even we do agree that men also, yell over.
Still man him and instead of letting us respond.
I just because I'm hearing this and it's like a bunch of chatter, but no one's actually getting around to the point of just saying that there's men who compete with other men, obviously, who yell, talk over other men, but that'll happen at a lesser degree than maybe it happens. And wait, let me finish. In a lesser degree, to the extent that when another man is going to talk over another man, there's some level of competition there. There's like if there's a level of deep enough like difference between the two, they're not going to do that, right? They're not going to speak over. There's certain people that other men and in certain areas will not speak over. Now that same man who might be on a lower level or a lower totem pole, whatever alpha beta bullshit you want to say in any environment that has men and women in it, might feel more comfortable speaking over a woman than he would feel speaking over other men. I don't think that men are overtly like excluding and shitting on women in the workplace and like shut up bitch like that. Like I don't think that that's happening, but I do think that a man might feel more comfortable speaking up over a woman than they would speaking up over a man in certain presentations and industries. Absolutely.
But you got to think about why is that the case? Why is that the case? Because you got to think about it. If you're more comfortable speaking to that woman, you're more comfortable speaking to that woman because blank. And for that reason is the same reason you might speak to a very docile man. So you just say you're not up to handling like very aggressive people in general. And that's why you're more likely to be, aggressive towards that woman in that hypothetical man you're talking about. In my instance, I'm very like, whatever, aggressive when I'm talking about in these heated conversations. And when I'm talking to a man, it's the same thing. I give the same energy as I'm an equal opportunity fighter, talker, debater, whatever you want to call it. So I give the same energy as I give a man and I give a woman. But when I talk to the woman, they might think that I'm treating them differently because they're women because they're not used to how I'm talking. But I'm treating them exactly what equality wants to treat them like. fair and the same as I was treat a man. But they're thinking, oh, it's unfair because he's but no, this is literally how I talk to my friends. They always say, do you talk to your friends that way? Yes. This is how we talk. Just
Hey,
because
man,
you're not used to it doesn't mean it's
Maybe
like
we
more
should
aggressive to your way.
change the way we
no,
talk.
I think
You know?
I think what is the
Or
exact
just get
opposite of
used to it.
everything that Jamali said. Like this, I think this panel goes very even now. Like we're all cutting each other off. I think this panel we're watching in real time would go really different. Like Jamali, you're like masculine presenting, but if there was like 3 women on the panel, I don't think we are as easy to like, oh, we just keep going. Like if you feel like jumping to the point, jump to the point. Because I catch myself doing it all the time. When Jay is on panel, if I see Jay raising her hand like 3 or 4 times, I'm like, hey, y'all, Jay trying to say something. Chill out for a second.
Exactly. I was going to say that too.
Like I think that men are much more likely to cut each other off and like just move on it, into some assertive way. And I think we do generally make space. Well, either we make space for women or like we whenever people are like a woman is coming to like a masculine space, I think that like you warn them like, oh, okay, it can get pretty rough in there, not in like locker room talk, but just like you got to fight in there, you got to make your way in there. I know that just happened. I just kept talking.
I think it would benefit women to be more assertive.
Lando Calrissian just showed up, y'all.
I think
True.
like
That's not wrong, Dream. You're so right. Women absolutely should be more assertive. I think women probably aren't more assertive because of generations upon generations of being in a more, submissive role in society. I think in the same
by men, yes.
And yes, in the same way. Well,
but not anymore.
Women also. Gambit actually did say something that was perfectly true. Women also did play a part in assigning their own role. At some point, it happened. Yes, that is true. Now, you could argue whether or not it's been abused by the fact that the people who have the ability to accrue the most power can abuse that more submissive class, which has historically most likely probably been true. But in the same way that, black people were bred over 400 years to be strong and big, and now they're like, most black people are playing in sports, it's the same way or same reason why most women would probably be less aggressive and show less traits that we're talking about that would be considered masculine.
Can we say that these things aren't necessarily about breeding? And I think this is where the problem comes in, is that some people want to live in like in a non-biological reality, right? Because some of these things, like testosterone, is known to cause aggression. That's like a thing that happens. And like there's already plenty of examples, like where like even when people are like taking hormones, like when trans men are taking hormones and things like that, the testosterone psychologically increases aggression and things like that.
Testosterone is produced in both men and women. Ecological things that...
Yes, let me finish. So yes, this is true, but the thing is, when you start taking testosterone, it increases the levels of testosterone that would not ordinarily be there, and then this also results in more aggression because a testosterone is associated and correlated with aggression. So it's not like society is the only thing pushing this. Some of this stuff is just literally biologically born out.
Yeah.
So
do you think that if there was...
I think anybody's arguing...
Do you think that if there was...
Right. So good. I get it. I get that was a very banal point. But then if that's the case, then trying to attribute this to only society sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly.
And it also explains why when we talk about like men over talking other people, because of the fact that men tend to fraternize more so with men or just be like in more social circles with other men, and women tend to be in more social circles with women, why we've developed certain habits and seen certain attributes, and why these things are off-putting once you start like mixing these sort of things. When you start mixing men with women, you're going to see like, we have to start renegotiating the way some of these things are, because if it's normally supposed to be just about who's more aggressive is going to suck up more air in the room, and women are not used to being in circles where they have to be aggressive to suck up air in the room, and it's actually seen as being more rude and things like that, because they're now appealing more towards just different values, then that means now if we don't create spaces or literally force men not to do this, then they will just naturally talk over women, because they're naturally talking over anyone in this space, because it's an aggressive thing that needs to happen in order for them to command the space that they want to. right?
I would argue that that's something that has been like that has just been like societally accepted and something
No,
that's
okay. So what,
I'm not responding to
distance
that.
myself from this. It's
You're
not
into
just
a word I said.
it is nature and it is also nurture. It is both. It's literally biological that these things are happening to as to why these two particular sexes in our species tend to have these roles in our society. I'm saying that we're essentially agreeing that if there were a control, obviously, in this hypothetical, where women had to be more physical, they had to be more this and that and the third, they would end up producing more testosterone, being the breadwinner, sort of something, so forth and so on, right?
They can't just alter their biology to
No,
produce more
that's not true,
testosterone.
bro. You're absolutely trolling, bro.
This is over.
You think the biology is sociologically controlled?
I'm talking of. What time span do you think I'm talking of? Do you think I'm talking of like 100 years, couple hundred years? Do you think I'm talking like thousands of years? And the way that human civilizations have
scale.
Jamali, you're just wrong. You're literally thinking reverse, right? Like you're inverting the causal relationship here. It's that the natural tendencies from the biology, from having more estrogen as opposed to having more testosterone, is what we've responded to in order to create these roles. You're saying in your brain right now that if we were to reverse the roles over time, eventually women would just start producing more testosterone than men. If we inverted the roles, and that's just not the way that works.
Yeah, I don't think that's scientifically backed up at all.
I think I'm pretty sure that if you were to go ahead and take a like a Google, like just a quick Google spree to see if there were any other species
you can sociologically raise testosterone.
Be more,
probably. I think it's probably
trans men would love this, right? Trans men would love it if they could just command
have the female versions of a species be the dominant version of that species. That can happen.
That biology is different.
But
wait,
in those cases,
well, yeah. But if there are certain environmental things that affect their biology, which does,
like their DNA.
In those cases,
what? And we're saying, and
chill.
Wait, no. You always cut people off.
He's just gonna yell.
Okay, all right. Okay, one at a time. All right,
I believe it's Jamali's turn.
Jamali,
I do believe it
point, and then we'll go to Fanatic, all right?
The point I'm making is that there are obviously things in nature that can be proven that could have these sorts of results, where something that would be considered, or the feminine sex of something and the masculine sex of something have what we would consider, if we're tracing them and analogizing them to our own
He's
species,
trying to make it to a point.
Because that's the point. The point is that if you can see these things in nature, and I'm saying in a hypothetical world, this is control, a hypothetical, where women are the hunter and the hunters and the men are the gatherer, there would be biological differences over time based on what these roles of people are doing. The only reason that men and women have those biological differences now is because of the roles that they took while doing things that gave them more proclivities to be have more testosterone or estrogen or certain levels of eyesight or strength or muscle density. All of these things are environmentally factored into the evolution of our species.
No, I agree.
But what came first, and what was that?
I don't know what that has to do.
The biology came first before the environment.
Before y'all tell
Jamali
Jamali up, let me add on. I'm gonna jump on your team. I'm on team Jamali. Let me.
You have to be existing in order to change the environment, right?
This feels irrelevant. This feels irrelevant. Just let me say this real quick. I think that generally speaking, what Jamali's saying is true. Not over 1,000 years, but like if we're in some hypothetical control where like the most masculine women we find in society, like we only allow the most masculine women to reproduce, and we only allow the most docile men to reproduce over like millions of years, we would you would come out with like less masculine men and more
run into men and get killed off. That's what will happen.
No, I'm saying that, but he's talking about a controlled society. I'm saying, but like all you're doing is replacing them. Now those women will become what we see now as men. Like if you control this for a million years, of course you would. But that I don't think that's the point though. Like if you're doing that control, you're no longer dealing with like reality.
I don't even think that's true. I think if it's artificial control, it's not going to alter your biology.
Yeah,
over a million years, of course. Evolution doesn't stop.
Selective breeding.
There's no way to predict what's gonna happen with
if only the men with the lowest T levels and only women
You're
with like the
assuming
highest
that
levels reproduce.
you're assuming that masculine females produce offspring, and if they're females, will be more masculine because their mother was more masculine.
No, but I'm saying if you repeat that over a million years,
Wait,
probably
no.
some
Wait,
truth in it.
hold on. I got it. It's the simplest way of saying this. Do you think that testosterone levels are hereditary?
Yeah.
We're not having a scientific argument anymore. I'm not engaging with that. That's stupid. That's just not true.
Well, I'm saying so you don't think that humans can change over a million years?
I don't think testosterone levels are hereditary. I'll say it that way. I'm not going to say I don't think. Testosterone levels are not hereditary. Like trying to find like higher testosterone females and like, first off, like if you're trying to do a control like that, the degrees are so insane right now. I don't even know how you would even begin to do anything like that. And I don't think that's like when you.
I don't think it's relevant.
And when you look at like these different species in like lions and things, where like the females are dominant and things like that. It's not that the females are dominant because they have higher testosterone levels. That's not the way this works. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't mention lions. I didn't mention lions. I just said that you could.
He
did.
Change. Jamali did.
Oh, okay.
No, I mentioned lions to try to give them an out.
Into this. Maybe I need to dig more into this. But
you do.
Please do.
Scientists now believe that low testosterone is hereditary. Other things that we have shown that high testosterone levels in men and women are heritable, 20%, and influenced by a combined effect of many genetic variants in genes. I mean, this is from nature.com. I could probably look more into that. Yeah, I don't know.
As the resident person with a biologist for a mother and of several people who do lab work, the claim isn't so unfounded. Right? It's not 1-to-1. You're not socially boosting your testosterone. You can't yell yourself into higher testosterone levels. That's ridiculous.
Okay, I just Googled. Is testosterone hereditary?
Thank you for interrupting.
The very first thing that happened was a man's testosterone levels are largely determined by his childhood environment rather than by genetics. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Wait, you just said the opposite. That went against your point.
No, what? It's by childhood environment rather than his genetics. It's not by genetics.
Yeah,
you're arguing for environment.
We're talking about environment. He was talking about environment. Senpai.
Oh, sure. I can tell that could be against my point. Sure.
Okay. So
let me read this. I wanna let some people in, right? Okay. So we'll start with Azzy. Azzy, thank you for joining us. Much appreciated, buddy. So yeah, we were on did you hear the start of the topic? Did you hear the prompt, Azzy?
I heard bits and pieces. I was listening to two different conversations at the same time.
You were listening to another fucking stream. Unbelievable.
No, I wasn't even in stream. I was in another Discord and I was listening to the stream because I know.
I'm messing with you. All right. So like so we're doing our second topic first. So let me read it again for you. All right. Do you think that there are any responsibilities within a hetero relationship that simply belong to a man? Would you be okay if a woman was the main provider for your family? If she was a more skilled fighter? Would it be okay if she defended the family when there was trouble? Would you be fine with a woman proposing to you? If you're a woman, how do you feel about taking on these roles? So, what are your thoughts?
Thoughts only if they have to. It's unnecessary because they are the part of our human race that produces children. So if they die off, it's like any army. When, like, think of China. All the strong men go out to war. They die off. Now you're left with, the men who aren't as attractive, aren't as strong, and now there's a bunch of women, right? So now you have a bunch of women, and it's just the way things works. When the good men die off, you're left with women. I don't want all my good women dying off. You guys may think this is a funny point. I might have posed it in a very hilarious way, but listen, if all the good women are dying who are childbearing and we can't have any more kids. That's just 1-to-1.
You found an ugly woman going to war.
Nah, I'm not even. Listen, sometimes even I said childbearing. It's not about the way they look, because sometimes even the ugly girls, they can pop out. My great grandmother had 16 children. My great grandmother was not ugly. She wasn't. But she had 16 children. All right, she had 16 children. Her
You
husband
just
went
called
to.
your great grandmother.
No, I did not.
You
Don't
said
put
she
words in my mouth.
busted, bro.
That's
You
wild,
said she
bro.
No,
Literally
no,
said-
no, 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 no,
literally
no,
said,
I didn't say that.
Ugly women. My great grandmother. See, my great grandmother.
You guys don't-
I'm just like,
y'all are not
I'm
fucking-
having a stroke, bro.
I'm gonna tell
why-
your family members, bro.
This is
I'm
why I
telling
took
you.
I took my hiatus because y'all just don't know how to be flexible with y'all minds. Y'all just too
Oh, you called
dogmatic.
your great grandmother ugly, my dude.
No, I did not.
You mean
You know
flexible?
what? Okay, y'all.
Okay.
You really did, bro.
Continue to
Flexible.
spin. Continue to
Yeah,
spin.
it's you the fact that I called my
Continue to
great
spin.
grandmother
I'll
ugly.
make- I'll make-
Eli,
Tone
don't,
it down,
you don't have to
Chris
yell.
Rock.
You don't have to
Yeah.
yell
Oh my
names,
God.
please.
I'll
Don't.
finish my point. I'll finish my point. It's glad to be back. You know. Listen, that's my thoughts on that. If only if they have to. If there's not enough men around, think of the industrial, age. And there's wars. Wartime came. Men had to go to war. Women had to take up the mantle. They had to take care of the home. They had to go into the workforce. They took over.
So what you're saying is all boomers are ugly.
Hold on.
Oh, she's
you have a
unmuted.
StreamYard. So
Oh.
Riri, keep yourself
And
muted in
Riri, I have to
StreamYard.
say, I love.
And we'll
I
you
love
just
your
use
stream.
Discord for
I love your stream,
guys. Keep yourself muted in StreamYard so that we can talk on Discord. That's what we use that for. Discord for audio, StreamYard for visuals. But Riri, thank you for being
Hi.
here. Been trying to make this happen for quite a while.
There's an
Riri,
echo. My bad.
I'm
Yeah.
glad she's on.
My
Yeah,
fault.
come on.
Look, guys, I just came from work, so I apologies for jumping in this conversation, but it sounded like
No,
what you
thank you
said
for
is
being
like
here.
boomers are all ugly. And I would agree with that. So, I'm on board with that.
No,
Her point, not
you
mine.
can't embrace Azzy on that point.
But
No.
listen.
What's the minimum-
No,
what's the
that's
minimum
her
age of
point. Y'all see that? This is
Okay.
about to go back on hiatus.
Okay,
bro.
all right,
Y'all
sorry. I want to
let me
get to Riri's opinion on this, right? So you
What?
read the prompt.
You let me finish. Let me finish.
Come
before
on,
we
you
get
weren't
on.
finished yet?
You called your great grandmother
No,
ugly.
bro,
That's
you
finished.
let him-
I think
listen.
that's
Oh my
finished.
God.
Marathon, bro.
No,
You're right.
Because this is how it goes. I say something
Finish
that
your
you guys
point, finish your
seem
point.
controversial.
Azzy,
Y'all butt in,
Azzy,
and then I
please.
can't finish
Azzy,
nothing.
please finish your point.
know,
Called your
this is what
do
I
wanna
say.
hear-
ugly.
Azzy, please.
Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. All right. Child rearing women should not go into do anything dangerous unless need be. All right? Do we understand that? Let's move forward. I wanted to touch on Jamali's point, and then you can go to Riri.
There's a Mad
His
Max
point-
movie with that somewhere.
His point was not unfounded. There's epigenetics. There's food you can eat that are testosterone boosting, natural foods. Just working out boosts testosterone. That's why sometimes you'll avoid certain workouts because you don't want, legs. Legs is in men, testosterone is stored in their legs, in their loins. So you can tell like when a man has low testosterone, he probably got skinny legs. Could be, because of something else, but hey, it is what it is. It's not one to one. Just take it as a leave it. You don't have to engage.
So
with
what
it.
you're saying is I have high testosterone because I have thick ass
You
legs.
might have.
wow.
Yep. Yes.
I didn't know this.
yes.
Are you saying? Wait, hold up. Are you saying my fiance has a lot of testosterone?
It might
Oh
be.
my! Hey, hold on.
More
Let's
than
stop
you?
this.
Let's
Wait,
keep
wait.
going.
Oh, y'all.
Now
wait,
you can
we
go to
can't-
Riri.
Time
We
out.
can't
Go to
degrade
Riri.
into this.
You guys are
Yeah,
Please.
I don't know why people just can't leave it alone. Yeah,
Okay,
y'all
all right,
just
okay.
wanna
Let's move on.
Come on.
Riri,
go to Riri.
what are your general thoughts on the prompt? You don't have to necessarily respond to anyone, but just your general thoughts on.
Yeah, so I don't
Boomers are ugly.
I don't think anyone has to ascribe to traditional gender tropes. I think everyone could kind of fall into the roles they want to fall into. I don't believe in ascribing to any sort of set roles in general, but that's just me. I'm, I guess, unconventional in that way. However, there are differences between men and women, and I think men are typically more suited for things that require, physicality. However, I also believe that, women who are very strong could do those roles as well. The testosterone argument that I heard when I came in was interesting because testosterone can be gained, like you can go to the gym and acquire more testosterone. Like, it's not an end all be all thing. Yes, genetics play a part in that, but it's not something that can't be worked on, if you will.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
Wait,
was making the
yeah,
claim that you can't do things to increase your testosterone. But if we're talking about competing with people that have the highest of testosterone levels, there could potentially be genetic gates that keep women away from those type of arenas.
puberty is
That's
number
all I'm
one.
saying.
Like
Okay.
if like once you go through puberty, the levels of testosterone is gonna go way
Yeah,
higher.
yeah.
That's
I
why you
looked
went
it
in the
up.
Junior Olympics, like 8-year-olds, girls and 8-year-old boys, they're really competitive. Even there's some 8-year-old girls that's faster, but once you go to 9, 8, 10,
Fanatic, you make your point on this, but I actually want to focus in on the general things and not this testosterone thing. So
Yeah.
make your point.
Actually, you know what?
Yes,
You're
please.
right. Let's get past that.
Yeah, let's
Actually, no,
go.
I do, just so that everyone's really clear really quickly. Yes, so environment can influence that, but that doesn't go to your argument because because even though environment can be an influence, it doesn't overcome the genetic sex advantage, right?
Exactly.
Your chromosomes are going to determine what those levels are. So yes, you can say, oh man, because of environment or because of activity, I can increase my testosterone to a level. There is literally no type of environment, no type of activity level or anything that will make a woman's testosterone levels be higher than that of a man. Like these things are crazy,
Okay.
crazy different.
Of a
That's-
man
yeah.
or of
Okay.
like the top?
We are no. We're done with
the
that.
Yeah.
We're done with this. We're moving on.
Thank
So I want to focus in on like the prompt, right? Okay. So Riri, you missed some of this conversation. I'm curious what your thoughts would be, right? So at some point we were some of the men here were assigning traits in the categories of masculine or feminine, right? They said aggression is a masculine trait, but they also said courage and pride is a masculine trait. Some people talked about how black women are being, and if anything I say is wrong, please correct me for the people
I
who
would
said
say
it, right?
one slight thing. When we say masculine, we don't mean that women don't have the ability to exude this, just that there's a distribution and that men are of the higher tier. That's all.
So,
Just to
and
make
I
that
think it's
clear.
interesting that courage and pride was included in that. But
I
still,
said aggression.
I know, yeah.
I can
And
see
then
how that
also,
plays into
like
courage.
our man fanatic here, said that black women were being masculinized, right? And part of the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, if this is what you're saying, part of that reason is because they're getting more educated than men, right? They end up
Because of the
did I get that
removal of
wrong?
men.
The
The
main reason
removal
is
of
the removal
men
of the man in the
forces
household.
them to take up the removal of men from like societal influence. Black men causes them to take up more traditionally masculine roles. Blah blah blah.
Fanatic, was I wrong? You said like I remember you brought up
He did say
Yeah,
that
I
though,
did.
Prime.
Yeah, let me break it down. So yes, I was saying like in things like education, right? Because education, especially back in the day, was a primarily male thing. Men out earned women in degrees across the board. But when it comes to black people, specifically black women, out earn men when it comes to degrees, right? And so then that disparity is already there. When it comes to like out earning men, still the vast majority of black men out earn their wives, but a disproportionate level of black women out earn black men. And so since things like educational attendance or education attention and earnings and things like that are typically distributed to different sexes, like we're seeing that there's an imbalance there. And then of course obviously women have to take on the role of being like the protectors of their families in the case where there's an absence of the male inside of the home. And so if you have a person that's in prison or just not there inside of whatever, like the direct household, women have to take on the role of protecting themselves and being masculine in that regard.
So
black
this
women
is
don't
all
get to rest
part
in their
of
femininity.
society masculizing women.
That is
black
a
women,
huge
black women.
portion of that when it comes to black women, I would say, because I think black women are just as feminine as every other freaking other people. But I would say that all women, in the absence of a male, have to take on specific aspects of society because certain aspects of society are literally designed for men.
I think this perspective of masculinity comes from westernization ideas of masculine. Unfortunately, I feel that Black people as a whole don't really culturally fit into what the typical standard tropes are for gender, men or women. And I feel like I don't think we should be ascribing to this Western idea of what being a woman and being a man is.
But
Aggression,
we're living in a Western world.
sure. Yeah, we are, but we're not culturally Western. Like a lot of Black culture isn't American culture.
What culture
Yeah,
does
it's
it
Black
have?
American culture. It's Black American
Yes,
culture, right?
but it's not American. American culture is very
I
very
know what you
set
mean.
on these traditional, like, oh, this, you work, the man works and the woman stays at home and nurtures the kids, but that's not how Black American culture is.
Wait,
And
still
I
in the
think
vast
what
wait,
culture
wait,
doesn't
It
do
literally
that?
was.
That's not true. Wait, hold on. Wait, that's just not true. Still in the vast
No.
majority of Black households in which you have two-parent households, the number of like stay-at-home women as opposed to stay-at-home men is still overwhelmingly like
Yeah.
higher for women than men, right? Like so.
not in
still-
Black
still-
American, no,
No,
not in Black
yes,
American homes.
Even in Black American homes, still the man
Yes.
still out earns the woman in the vast majority of homes, right?
Yeah,
I didn't
Riri,
say
hold on.
out earned. I said
Hold on,
that
wait,
the
Riri,
woman
do you think-
is a stay-at-home mom. That is
Wait,
not
Riri,
the
do-
case for Black
hold on, wait,
American
It's not a
homes.
necessity.
Because it's
There's
it
not a
sounds
lot
like-
of nuclear families in Black
Hold on.
American homes. You feel
That's
me?
why Fanatic qualified it in saying two-parent households.
Yeah. So Riri, you think in two-parent households there are more stay-at-home dads than stay-at-home moms?
No, I think both people work in both of those families because of the necessity for.
Wait. But I asked you a
that
specific question, right? Like I really want you to ask the question. Answer the question that I asked you.
I missed it.
Do you think there are more stay-at-home moms or more stay-at-home dads? I understand that there are households where both people work, but I'm asking you specifically
in Black American homes or just in general?
in Black American two-parent homes or two-people homes.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I would have to look that up. I couldn't tell you.
The answer
How do you
is
not
going
know
to be that men are earning more.
Because I didn't look it up.
Probably, yeah.
I just
Well,
told
no,
you.
but intuitively,
You don't listen. Literally
I
just
listened.
said.
I listened. I just believe that my question was, how
Wait,
do
this-
you not know? And the thing was, the implication in that question is, since you want to get snappy, is that intuitively,
I didn't get snappy. I answered your
if you-
question.
okay, sure.
Answer the question.
Intuitively, everyone should recognize that there are significantly more stay-at-home women than there are stay-at-home men, right? Like even in Black households, like we all know this. What?
Also, the
You think there's
majority
a-
of
Do you know?
I'ma
Do
just
you know
let
a lot
him
of
keep
stay-at-home
digging.
men in Black households at all?
I don't know a lot of stay-at-home anyone in Black households. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm
Yeah,
saying
she's
that's
saying
true for
that
white households
Okay,
everyone-
too.
sure. But do you know of some stay-at-home women?
No, I don't know of
None at
any.
all?
Zero. Yes.
Yeah,
Google
she's
it.
saying
You're
that
lying
the
with
black
this.
culture is
I'm not
different from the
lying. I
Western
just
culture.
I have no perspective of it.
It's-
I'm
yeah, it's
ignorant
her-
of
I
it.
get
I'm
it, yeah.
that's what I'm admitting.
That's what she's saying is
It's her
different.
But
If
that's
I'm not
cool.
mistaken.
But that's also,
yeah.
but that's also true for like if we're talking about majority. That's also true for white households. Like the majority of white households in 2022 aren't stay-at-home, stay-at-home mothers. Like the only reason that like black people from an early age in American history have been having like two people work in the household was just out of a necessity because of a lack of like financial opportunity. Like that, it was based in survival, not because like this is the culture that we decided we chose that we wanted women to be out as like much as possible.
I don't even think it was that. I think it was just there's now a financial necessity because you can't. Used to
That's
be
what I said.
You could wait. Say it again.
That's literally what I said. That's exactly what I said. That was
Okay,
verbatim.
never mind then.
That's what he said.
It wasn't a choice. That's what I'm saying. Like women, we didn't decide in black household. You know what?
Right.
We should let the
It
women
wasn't
work.
a
first.
Okay, yeah,
decision.
you're right. Okay, I would agree with that. Yeah.
It's an economic like necessity basically.
Yeah.
But it's also
not a
but that's
decision.
also true for white people though. It's saying like what you said is like well, white women stay home. Not really.
Yeah.
Asian women
And so
stay
I
home,
think we
not
should
really.
examine kind of what the current state is and not what it was when they were going off to war and things like that. You guys are talking about like World War II days. That isn't the case anymore.
Well, those things that sent men off to war are because of this aggression that and all the other physicality that men have more, and that's why these things still have like these things still have effects on culture, even if we're not at war. And that is men being more aggressive and blah blah blah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
something.
I thought it
Kevin,
was because someone decided to assassinate Archduke Franz Ferdinand. I thought that's why we had two world wars.
Yeah, I
No,
actually
Hawaii-
something
Hawaii
Gambit
men
said.
being
Wait,
drafted.
I wasn't
Hold on.
explaining. Wait, I wasn't explaining why we had a world war.
Get
I
it.
was
Let's
explaining
not get
why
into this. Let's
it's
not get into
men
this.
that go to war.
Don't be
okay.
snappy,
Wait,
Juicy.
let me, damn it. Wait a
Wait
second. Like on topic, something you said early on in the conversation that I thought was like super, well not super, but I think come from a toxic place, whether we admit it or not, is you were just saying that men should like strive to out earn their wife. I think that's like
That's
not what he
the
said.
competition
No,
in the
that is what I
household.
said.
That is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
he said.
I thought you said out like earn as much as possible.
They
not
should
just
strive
Yeah.
to be the
out-earn your wife.
provider. Was his exact words? I
Yeah,
remember.
Yeah,
I wrote it
provider.
down.
That doesn't mean
For
strive to out earn your wife.
Yeah.
No. Wait. You don't. I'm here. Absolutely, I would say men should strive to out earn that.
But what is the
Sure.
what is our definite working definition of provider?
Why? But like, what? Wait, hold on.
No, before we get
Why
into
would
the
you?
why, because I think he's fairly explained why. I feel like they had an ample time to explain why, and
I
they've
mean,
done it multiple times on different panels.
No, but I just think
I
that
would
I
say
think that's just because I brought it
the
up.
fair
I just
question.
think it's
All right, go
toxic to. No, I think it's really toxic to like to think of your households as like a competition in that way. Like to think that like your manhood is like your masculinity
Wait,
agree
isn't
with
met
that.
because of the amount.
Wait.
Hold on,
You're
you're
changing my argument. You're
Yeah.
now there's two arguments, right? An argument can be made to say, hey, men are good or bad if they earn less than their mate. I'm not making that argument. I'm saying that men should strive to make the most. I'm not saying that men that don't make the most are bad or any immoral claim to them. I'm just saying that men should strive to earn more.
That is
That's
competing,
different.
though.
That's different from the toxicity that you're talking about. I don't
Not
care
really.
If you use
Not
the word
really.
should,
Just
if
because
you use the word
just
should, then
because
that means then at
yeah.
that point, then there is something.
You set
better
up
or better
scribe.
about
Yeah,
it.
but
Yeah,
for
it's a
utility,
competitive
utility,
thing.
though.
And you
Just
shouldn't be
because-
competing with your
yeah.
partner.
But he's talking about utility, not moral
But
aspiration.
it's not even utility. If you make $100,000 and your wife makes $150,000, like you have a household that's taken care of
You
at
should
that point.
still strive for 170.
No, you're not.
That's what he
no,
said.
This is
should.
what
She
this
makes
is why-
171. I'm gonna make 172.
This is what you're not
Yeah.
understanding. What you're not understanding
Can't
is
have
this.
her out here showing
No,
me
we
up.
fully understand.
No, you
That's
don't
why
understand because I
he
said
was-
this earlier. You're not understanding this point.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody is injured or can't work, for example, when your wife is pregnant, right? You still need to be making more than enough for the both of you.
Yeah, but that
Just
doesn't
in
mean
case-
you
Yeah.
just 'cause-
If
doesn't
your
mean you're making more than
household
her.
is-
Huh?
Just
If you
can
need
make
to be making more than enough for
You
both
you need to be making enough so that her loss of income, your family doesn't fall apart.
correct,
Exactly.
but that's a very different thing than like making more.
No,
Like,
it's
you can-
based in. That's why men should earn more.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's
no,
not.
no.
If
Here's
you
a caveat.
earn more, you're gonna live to a mean that has to have her income.
That's his-
And if
No,
now
no, no,
she's
no, 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 no.
pregnant,
I think the distinction that they're trying to make, right? That Bam is trying to make is that you both could be high owners, right? So like, you could make $200,000,
like
right?
that.
And that
I
could
like
be,
that shit.
as a man, could be enough to hold together
whatever
the
y'all's
family,
lifestyle
right? Take care of the family, right? But a Black American maid is saying that like she can make $300,000, right? And just because you don't happen to be earning as much as she does, doesn't mean that you can't take care of the family if you lose her income, right? You can
Yes,
obviously take care of people on $200,000. You're saying you have to strive. So they're discriminating
wait.
on you saying
In
you
most
must
cases-
have to strive.
hold on,
to
wait,
make more.
because I want to make sure I want y'all to bite this bullet because this is like laughable to me. Do you think most families can stay in the same level of support if one of the members of that family loses their salary and it's the person that makes more? Do you think that most families are financially secure enough to take the loss of the person that's making the most completely losing their income? Y'all know this is not true.
Sure, but
So when
most
you
people,
say she's gonna make more,
but the
and you're
person that's
giving
making the
out this
least can't.
fake, hold on, you're giving out this fake situation where her salary goes away, but the family's still fine because he was making X. That's not gonna happen.
Wait a minute,
Your
but the-
expenses and your lifestyle.
How
isn't
long
gonna
is this
support-
person out of work?
Wait a second. No,
What job are they making where they're making sufficient enough money for both people, where both people are both working, and this woman gets pregnant, and finances are all of a sudden just out the fucking. We have no way of surviving because you can't work for what 3 months in the last trimester
3
if you
months?
decide, and you can maybe
3
even decide to
months?
work even. Wait,
He
are you?
doesn't- he
Oh wait,
doesn't-
are we gonna wait?
And this
Please
is
stop the
America?
fake outrage. Stop the fake outrage. Are we gonna
No.
act like pregnant women don't work until like a little later than they used to? Are we gonna pretend like we don't have like the
I
best
work-
medical system in the fucking
They
almost in the world, and like we have
absolutely
people who can like
They work
literally
as long
have
as they can.
they work
Yeah.
as long as they can.
Yeah.
They're not gonna literally stop working at like 4 months pregnant. It's not gonna
work
happen.
with pregnant
We're talking about
we
what's
never-
preferable. We're talking about what's preferable. You don't want your wife to work while she's pregnant, and
It's not about wants.
It's not.
Well,
Yeah,
hold on.
it's
Hold
not
on.
what it is.
I
It's not what it
wanted-
is.
No, no,
It's about
I
what
wanted
is.
to say something
It's
real
about
quick.
the fact that
It's
it's
more
more
about
about the fact that she
I
has
think
to work because we have abysmal, parental leave
It
benefits.
sounds like if
Okay,
your
so
wife, it sounds like if your wife is pregnant and your finances are out of whack in your house because of it, then you guys need to fucking look at your books better and make sure that you can actually have a fucking pregnancy.
Okay,
Most
that's what he's saying.
families
Okay,
can't afford a 500.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait, because this is like stupid. Most families can't afford like an emergency $500 bill, but y'all are saying, oh, they can support the breadwinner just losing their job. This shit is so stupid.
Okay, hold on.
Nobody's saying that.
Stop
Nobody's
for
saying
a
that.
second. Okay, look, this is like a simple math problem we're talking about here, right? This is literally all this is.
50%
Is a
of
fucking
income.
Sounds like a
math
savings problem.
So like,
Yeah.
look. I
Deadass.
think the problem here is that you're mixing different problems together, right? So
Yeah,
look,
I agree with
specifically the thing that Chieshu, that people had objection to is that necessary that the husband must strive to make more, right? On that single point. Then the conversation has sprouted into all kinds of different directions, right?
No, no,
You
but
brought
that's why. No.
Wait, let him finish. Wait a second.
Yeah,
Gambit.
it sprouted to all different points, right? And one of those points now has been brought up is like the state of the American middle and working class. In that, and you're correct, right? That so many people can't afford a $500 emergency, right? Like that's true, right? And that the loss of one person within that household is often devastating. But
Regardless
they
if they're the breadwinner.
yeah, but they weren't talking about that when they were making that objection.
But that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I get that, but that's not what they were talking about. So we're talking past each other, right? So I'm
No, we're not. No, we're not. Y'all just have like, I don't know what's wrong with y'all brains.
It's just
No. Ask the question, Prime, on why I think males should earn more. What do you think my answer is? Why do you think males should earn more?
Welcome to All Black Everything.
To take care of the family, right? So if there is a loss of income, right? He can keep the family whole and housed, right? Yeah, for that reason.
Can I just also make a
So it's
point that
completely connected.
something about someone, like a few of you were shocked that women work like
Yeah.
up until like they're basically
No, that's
bursting?
not what we were talking about. No, don't
Wait,
lie.
you guys didn't react like what?
Yeah.
You know what my reaction was too? What was my reaction?
Hold on.
We got a new person.
She's about to take a straw man that nobody said.
Shut up. We got a new person. We got a new
Yeah,
person.
let her waste time. Go ahead.
I just want to say that I think a lot of men think that women are incapable of working when they're pregnant, and they entirely are. So it's not actually as big of a deal as people think it is. I'm just gonna put that out there.
They want to put in the
Okay,
perspective.
so hold on. Let me say the real shit, because I knew y'all were gonna do the stupid shit. We're not talking about women can't work for long periods of time until they get until they have birth, right? A lot of women are gonna work 6, 7 months, whatever. But what we're talking about is life after that. That was why we said, oh, but of course y'all gonna go for the straw man. But listen, so Riri,
No, because maternity leave is a part of that, right? Because you're losing one
everything
person's
after
pay.
the birth. Yes, and then some people may not want to go back into the job sphere working the same amount that they worked before they had kids. This is if you listen to Kevin Samuels, you listen to him say, hey, do you want to work to pay significant bills?
I don't listen to Kevin Samuels.
No, wait.
Why the fuck would I do that?
I'm gonna finish. So the point wasn't if you listen to Kevin Samuels. If you listen to me, what I was talking about was if you listen to the black women that respond to Kevin Samuels on whether or not they want to work to pay significant bills after they have kids, overwhelmingly the answer is they don't want to have to support the household in a primary or secondary position. So all of that culture is why men need to earn more.
Okay, all right. So
that's cute.
I feel like that's a very small sample size. It's like
we've been on. Sorry.
It's absolutely not.
We've been on this math problem for a bit, right? And I kind of went past it, right? So look, I wanted to focus in, because the reason why I thought of this question was specifically, there was I was watching a show or something, right? And someone said that their girlfriend, the girlfriend proposed to them, right? And like that's what sent me down this rabbit hole, right? Some people were uncomfortable with that idea of being proposed to by a woman, and like, and you got to remember what this looks like what it might look like,
right? Like, imagine yourself in public, right, at a restaurant, and
Disgusting.
she gets down on one knee and presents a ring to you.
What? First of
Um,
all, no woman should be getting down on their knee for a
See,
man.
yes,
That was
Okay.
Well,
sexist.
I mean, they should do it
Sexist.
quite
I
often.
love that,
That is,
man.
that is quite sexist.
You
Two of them
watch
hoes.
your man.
Oh boy,
I think they
Reed.
should be on their knees
We have a
often.
sex-
Vince is like,
I ain't getting
Jesus
down on their
Christ.
knees.
Oh,
That was
man.
the
I
first
didn't see that.
mistake.
Oh boy,
You
but
gotta
any
do better.
case, but like but
Some
like
women lay down,
presenting
you
in
know.
front of your
Lay
friends
down.
and family,
Right.
right? Like, hey, like, will you marry me? So a lot of that seems to make you all uncomfortable. Why?
Not me.
That's absolutely
I'm
great.
uncomfortable.
Imagine the love of your life proposes to you. Oh my God. Thank you. I love you
Like,
too.
that
Yes.
doesn't make, that don't make me
I
uncomfortable.
gotta be honest. I'm kind of like, I don't give a shit what other people do. Like, if that's what you want to do, like, I mind my own business. That's how I feel.
Would you do it
Yup.
yourself? Would
I
you
just
do it?
don't like. That's not my relationship. I don't care.
Would you? I'm
Oh no,
talking
but
about your
he's
relationship
asking
now.
you for
Yeah.
you.
What about you?
For me, like, if I was gonna propose to a man, no, I'm not getting down on no knee. Like,
But
Why?
would you? But you
Why?
would propose to a man?
What if
First
you
of all,
love him?
I'm
You
the
need
wrong
him.
person to be asking, because getting married for me isn't the end all be all in a relationship. Okay, so for me, I don't have traditional ideas of what.
Yeah, but you can
Relationship.
answer the
We're talking about
question of
marriage.
would you
But
propose
would
to
you
a
get
man?
married?
Right?
Would you get married?
No,
No,
would
no,
you
no.
See,
propose? Is
there's
the
the
question.
question.
That's two
There's the
different things.
question. So here's the thing. I don't have inclination to get married right now, so no, I would not propose to anyone.
But
I
but
don't.
you're not
I can't
against
even.
marriage. Right?
I'm not fully against marriage, no,
Right.
but I can be in a long-term relationship without being married.
I
This is
agree.
what I'm
And
saying.
and when
But-
it comes to the marriage point, since you're not against it, would you propose?
No,
Yes.
I probably wouldn't,
Why?
Why not?
Okay, cool. Why?
because marriage isn't that important to me as it is to other people.
There's
No, no, no,
tons
no,
of
no.
financial
No, no.
benefits from getting married.
We're
There's
asking-
tons
Hold on,
I
of-
don't need the
Ezra.
financial
Hey, but she
benefits. is
said,
what I'm
listen, y'all,
saying.
she
I want
said
to ask somebody.
Okay.
Hold on, let me
She
ask.
said she.
Okay.
Bring it on. It's Tatiana, right?
Oh hell yeah, another woman. Let's go.
What was her
Yeah.
name?
So
Hey,
the question
okay.
is, Halo, hi to see you. Nice to see you again, Bam's girlfriend. Would you propose to a man, or would it be Bam or someone else, right? For a marriage proposal, would you do that?
But-
What was when, let's not call her Bam's girlfriend. What was her name?
I forget-
Exactly. Yeah.
Tatiana.
Thank you. Thank you,
Tatiana,
Ashley.
okay.
Tatiana, right?
Apologies, Tatiana.
Put
what
some
do you think?
respect on it.
I remember names. There
Thank
go.
you.
Yes. Yeah.
Would
Look
you
at
propose?
y'all.
The question is, would I propose to a man?
Yeah.
No,
Why?
Why not?
because I'm not that desperate.
Because she would propose to a woman.
Whoa, whoa,
There you
whoa,
go.
whoa, whoa, whoa. So Bam is
Oh,
desperate to propose to you?
no.
Let's
Is
go.
Bam
What?
desperate
No,
to propose to you?
no. This is
No,
the
because
double.
if he,
Strangest things.
Hold on. Oh my God!
No,
Shut
no,
up!
no,
I
let's
want to hear what
talk,
she has to say,
y'all.
Tatiana.
Listen,
females know when we ready to propose. We just wait on y'all to be ready when y'all want to propose.
I'm ready now. I know too.
Then propose to your girl if you
She
got
don't
one.
want to.
But why
She
shouldn't
wants to
you
get-
take
she
the
wants to get a degree
initiative?
first, but it doesn't
If-
matter. Men know want to
What
get
if-
married too. Like we
Yeah.
know
What
too.
if
I don't
you
know what
guys have
you're
already
talking about.
talked? What if you've already talked? You've
Mhm.
had discussion that like marriage is on the table. You guys would love to do it, right? Just a matter of when, right? And
Right.
then but you go ahead, right? And you take the initiative and decide I'm gonna propose. What's wrong with that?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If a female wants to propose, then that's on her. But me, I'm not proposing.
Why
But
not?
why?
Why not you? Yeah. Why not you?
You say you're desperate, but you
Bam
really you
says-
think you're desperate to your boyfriend for?
Yeah. Yeah. Bam
No,
says.
I'm not saying I'm desperate to him. I'm just saying I'm not finna force that on him. Be like, hey, I'm ready to get married now.
What do
I
you
wanna
think marriage
propose.
is?
Wouldn't
It's
it
not
be
the
forcing
norm.
it on you
Listen,
then?
listen. Don't twist her words. She
Thank you. Don't
understands
twist my
the
words.
male ego, so she's not gonna just lay on him a whole. Let me get
That's
down
what
on my knees
conversations
what she
and
prior
said.
to
destroy
the
his whole
proposal is
reality.
for. As
Like
you
me
think
saying,
people
hey, I
just
wanna have a
bluntly
baby.
do that?
And
Yeah, a lot of people do
He
it. I
get
know
me
a lot of
pregnant.
people.
And
do
that's
it.
not smart. Would you agree that's not smart?
It's not about being smart. It's individual choice.
Okay. All right.
It's,
So
it's
well,
foolish in some aspects.
I just-
It depends on the man.
I just want to get this get through this while we have Tatiana here, right? Tatiana,
Mhm.
like, so you're saying that you'd be forcing this on Bam. Like, let's use Bam as an example. You'd be forcing it on him, right? But if he proposed to you, he wouldn't be forcing marriage on you.
no, I'm saying I made the choice, the decision in this time. I want to get married, so I'm gonna get him a ring, propose to him.
Mhm.
But if we made a decision together, then we go together, we get the ring, and it's up to him to decide when he want to give me that ring. We've already talked about it. I'm
Mm.
just waiting for him to surprise me.
What if
To
you
surprise me with the ring.
What if you both? Okay, sorry. What if you both went to the store together? You got bands together, right? Only you took the initiative and did it first. So at this point, you're both on the same level. At some point, it's going to happen. You're on the same level. No one's being forced into it. Why can't you do it yourself? Why can't you propose first?
I feel like that's a power move.
That you can't make.
Yeah.
I mean,
But you're
both of you can
you're
make
an
it.
adult, right? I know you take charge in other parts of your life. Why not this part?
I don't know. That's just weird. That just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just does not sound something that I would do.
It's not right.
Okay.
Is
In the
it
Western world.
is it not something? Do you feel like I'm not trying to like be in bad faith here, but do you feel like it's a question of like sort of heteronormativity necessarily? Like this is just something that we as a
make
society.
things so
Yes.
academic. This isn't that. This is a
We're on a panel.
sociological.
What the fuck do you want? We're supposed to get deep into these issues. What? We're on a panel. What kind of question is that, Ozzy? Now, anyways, like I was asking, do you think that this would be something that this is like something
Y'all
that
like each
us
other?
as a
Y'all
society,
know each other?
us as a society, has just perceived
Fraternizing.
or created to be like normal, basically. Like the men are supposed to be the ones that go and propose all the time,
Yes.
not the women. Okay.
So you
Yes.
would agree that
It's
you're
like gender
brainwashed or
roles.
something?
Okay.
Am I brainwashed?
Yeah, by the gender roles. You're like,
I mean, I
have
guess
to do it this
in
way.
a sense, I guess I'm
Marriage isn't
brainwashed.
important to everyone, though. I think it's important to
Right,
remember
they're
that
mine.
people
around here.
who like
You don't
commitment
get it. You see these pretty little clothes you
love
got on?
commitment and not necessarily like the marriage thing. There could be a lot of reasons for that, like their upbringing. I think
Exactly,
ultimately at the
upbringing
end
is
of the
a good
day,
factor.
marriage unfortunately has become sullied by the high divorce rate that someone mentioned in chat. So for me, getting married isn't as enticing for me as someone being like, I want to be committed to you and I want to be loyal to just you. And like,
Do
be
you
in a
think the
monogamous
stats on
relationship.
those relationships are better than marriages? Do you think those people break up less?
I would love to know,
Yeah,
honestly.
but I don't
I
think
would
that's a
love
good
to know.
argument because stats don't matter on an individual level. It really
Yeah,
then I
and
think-
we're
Go down that route.
asking me, and
Wait.
me,
Well,
I'm
then I
like,
think-
marriage is
sorry.
just not important, so I wouldn't do it.
No,
you know.
Talking to a
listen,
modern
fanatic.
stats don't matter.
What are you doing?
Well,
Stats
then I
don't matter.
think-
Fanatic.
Stats-
Fanatic.
I think at that point with the
Fanatic.
Stats don't matter on an individual level, but what stats
Okay,
do first, what the purpose of the stats is kind of to help you to determine the value system or how people
Mhm.
overall that value things. And we all recognize that, like for the
Yeah.
vast majority of people on the planet, like they value marriage as sort of a prerequisite for certain.
Do they
levels of
value
commitment.
marriage or do they value commitment and loyalty?
I know what I was saying.
you.
What I was saying, if you would have let me finish the sentence, is that they value marriage as sort of a prerequisite for certain levels of commitment. We know
That's
this to be
exactly what
true.
you said before, but okay.
Right, but then your question doesn't seem like it really takes that into
It's
consideration.
not a question,
Yeah.
it was a statement.
No,
your
because
question was
what
verbatim: do they value marriage or do they just value commitment? So that question,
You're asking me that?
No,
No,
you
that's what
asked
you
them.
asked.
Oh, I did ask.
Are
that,
you
that's right.
following the conversation? Jesus.
Let's
To
move
be honest
forward.
with
Let's
you,
be.
all I hear is y'all
Listen,
arguing with each other.
I deal with
One
children.
ear and out the
I deal
other,
with
to be
Anyway,
honest
I'll
with
go
you.
ahead and
When I
okay,
hear
good. I
people
get it. It
yelling,
is
I'm
going on in one
immediately
ear.
like, doo-doo.
I
deal
wasn't
with
yelling at you. I
children
was speaking.
12
and you
hours
just
a
kept
day,
interjecting
and we
over and
Okay.
over again.
have-
But it's okay. Anyway, my point being that obviously when it comes to most people, that they recognize that marriage is a prerequisite for certain levels of commitment. So while you can say, I just want to show that a person is committed to me, in most cases, in order to find out that that commitment is there, you're going to need the marriage. So that's why I think the value of marriage
I don't
is
agree with
more
that.
than
I don't
Okay.
think you need the marriage to
No, he's
confirm
correct.
commitment.
I look forward to you raising a D1
Same.
athlete as a single mother. Go ahead.
Like,
Do what you do.
what?
And you're assuming that I
Are you-
want to raise a
whoa.
D1 athlete. Like, you're assuming a lot
What?
about me.
That
but
was the
okay.
joke.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
that's- you
Wait,
missed
take
that.
it.
This
shot,
goes
but
back to the
that's a
shit
great-
I
That
was
was a-
saying earlier
I'm
about
not
how
going
we
to dwell
like
on this.
about how
I'm
we're
not
like-
dwell on this. Plenty of single women have raised
athletes
extremely
or just talented
really
people.
talented
Yeah.
and
That's true.
uh,
But
That's
there's
the
also
point.
women who don't.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
point.
the
Y'all
point
are
was-
missing
I
it.
don't get that point.
Going,
Single-
he was saying that you're gonna be. It's
feel like
inevitable
that
that
was
you
like-
will be. He's saying it's inevitable that you will be single with a child, right?
feel like-
you
I
don't
also
wanna say that.
value, if
He
you
I also
did
want
say
to point out.
So, so yeah,
The
hold
argument
on.
is
So,
Did you
so,
stats
hold
also
on,
that as well?
hold on,
That assumption?
hold on. Shit.
Okay.
So he was saying that it's inevitable that you will be single and pregnant, like with a child,
if you are working outside the bounds of marriage, right? That it gives a person an out. Am I incorrect, Fanatic, in what I was saying?
People have an out
Yeah, it was
regardless,
a dig.
even
Yeah,
with marriage.
basically, yes. In so many words, it's basically this: that
People always have an out.
Lord, she's just gonna always overtalk me every single time. What I was basically
Because what you're saying
what I
is
was,
just
what I was
Very
basically,
You want to talk,
what I was
Fanatic.
basically,
You
what I was,
want to talk.
what I was basically,
Everyone
what I was
overtalked over
basically-
me, but
what I
when I
was
overtalk
basically-
over
I
other
had-
people,
I
oh
hadn't
my God, you're
overtalked
so
you a
Oh my
single
God.
time. I hadn't overtalked you a single time. I've been on mute 90% of this. So anyway, what I was saying was basically that people who have children outside of wedlock are significantly more likely to end up being single mothers in the long term, and end up having to raise a child by themselves. And so I'm saying, if she has this mentality,
You got a stat for that?
and she. If you
Yeah,
don't
there's
stat
plenty
for
of
that, I'm
stats.
not having a
Yeah,
conversation
come on,
with you.
come on.
But
Who the hell-
who said that?
I'm just curious. Do you have a stat for that, or is this just out your ass like everything else?
Eli, please, this is
Hey,
common knowledge.
Fanatic, finish up.
If you are going to be looking
it's
to be
talking
raising
to
your
a
child in
4-year-old.
a committed relationship, if anyone's 4-year-olds, you can't shut the hell up when I'm talking. Anyway, so the point is, if you're looking for a commitment and you're using and you're looking for people and expecting them to be just as committed without marriage, then yeah, and you're willing to have children, expecting that commitment to last. We obviously recognize that non-monogamous, non-marriage monogamous relationships are significantly more likely to end in separation. So if that's the case, then you're probably going to end up raising your child by yourself.
Didn't
Because
say
those marriages are more likely
non-monogamous.
to
I
live.
said specifically monogamous. But
I'm sorry.
continue.
I meant monogamous, married relationships. I'm sorry. I misspoke there. So married, married, monogamous. Okay.
Non-married
non-married
monogamous.
relationships.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
him all
Yeah. So
riled
you
up.
like people who are single and want to be monogamous
Non-monogamous.
but are not married, they're more likely to end up in separation.
Yes.
I
See,
feel
you
like-
see what it-
And everybody knows
I
that.
feel like
And-
this kind of goes back to like what I was saying earlier about how like men kind of just talk over women when women are trying to,
What?
give their
This
piece
nigga's
on
a simp
things.
like I've
Oh,
never seen.
God!
You simp? I'm not a
Oh,
simp.
God!
It's just
You
you guys
simp
saw this
one
entire
time, hold on him.
panel prove the
Hold
point
on,
that I
hold
made
on.
earlier about how
You better
we as
time
men
called on him, right?
always talk
Eli,
over
before you sip,
women.
To
before
be
you
fair,
sip, you're
y'all
right.
talk over each other too.
Hold on,
Yeah,
man.
I
We
get-
get
Riri also
opportunity to
And
talk
that's what
over
we
And
said
that's why
earlier.
you're probably
What are you
at
talking
Smack.
about?
Hold on.
Hilariously enough,
Hold
that's what we
This
said.
is
Oh my
terrible.
God.
Y'all do
Okay,
need to like
okay,
talk.
Gambit,
This is
Gambit.
crazy.
Hold on.
Chill
Hold
out.
on, hold on, y'all.
Yeah, relax.
Eli tried to simp, and then she elucidated the point that we told him earlier.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
literally. That's so funny.
Are we gonna just ignore the fact that she said that like she was still being talked over by
She was trying to talk over
and
Fanatic
how,
when
or-
we're
Why
hold
even-
on.
how earlier
I just-
when she wanted to make her point,
Bro,
wasn't it
bro.
Fanatic who called
It's
her
not gonna work for you,
snappy?
I don't think simping is gonna work with Riri.
I'm
bro.
not
just gonna
simping,
let you
just-
know.
Listen, all y'all are snappy in my
Eli,
eyes. All y'all
Eli,
are
need
the
to
point,
simp.
the point we're
not
saying.
simping.
I
snappy in
came
my
up here,
eyes.
I was like,
nigga, Eli,
Southern
don't need to
Women,
simp.
BBC
Let's-
convention. Let's
Fair
go.
enough.
My nigga, Eli.
You know what, Monkey? Shut up, because you
Eli.
definitely cut me off in the middle of my statement, and I didn't hear nobody get called snappy. So
Eli,
let's not
we
be
call-
all
We
equal.
called you
Let's
worse
be
than
all
snappy.
fair. and just-
Let's
No,
have a
no,
real
let's-
conversation,
We called
y'all.
y'all worse than
Since we want
snappy.
to be all, let's be real. All
We
y'all
called
cut each
y'all
other
worse
off
than
all the
snappy.
time.
Yeah.
Slappy is mild. Slappy is mild. We call y'all
Exactly.
worse than Slappy.
Yeah, but like
Just
ain't
saying.
nobody
Just
coming to each other's defense. You don't need to come to Riri defense. She fine.
I'm not coming to anybody's offense. I'm just stating my point like I stated earlier.
Why are you
about
being
how,
antagonistic?
like,
Listen, let's
I
move
feel like
forward.
if we being completely honest
Well,
about that
let's
point.
go ahead and move forward. Let's go ahead and move forward. Yeah, let's
Oh
let's
my
do
God.
that.
Because I'm gonna
We
say
can
if we
simp
being
out the panel, bro.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move. Let's go ahead and move forward.
No,
Okay.
look, Eli simping her DM be like, yeah, it's so mad that I'm so mad that they was talking
I'm
over me.
not-
Do that shit
I'm
later,
not
bro.
simping.
Do
I'm
that
just
shit later.
saying.
No.
I'm just saying how y'all proved my point, but
No,
Okay.
I'm
You
saying
know what?
the
I have
weird
to be
thing.
honest right now. Listen, like y'all were talking over each other in general. Y'all
Exactly.
called each other snappy. I'm just saying, like, in general, y'all have been disrespectful to each other. It's not
Thank
just
you.
me, and I'm not gonna make it like it's just me. Okay.
And why are men
agree with
so
that too.
disrespectful? Why are
And
men who have such egos who demand respect are so disrespectful? Especially
because
on
we
our
don't
platform.
suffer any consequences for it, really.
No,
I don't think we
stop.
suffer as many
Okay, all right,
consequences.
all
Did you
so,
not see Chris Rock get
Pause.
slapped into eternity?
Oh my God! Wow.
We got
When was the last time that happened?
Wow. Okay. Pause for a second. Okay.
guys
So
are
we
just
got
insane.
we ran out of time for this topic. We're gonna move on to our next.
Before then, though, we're gonna unfortunately lose someone. Our man Fanatic has to step out, so I want to give Fanatic an outro. Thank you, Fanatic, for coming through, bringing the fire like you always do. Right, we've been missing it here. So Fanatic, please tell the world about yourself.
So, my name is Fanatic, aka Mr. Fanatic, everywhere. My music is under the name Fanatic. Anyway, I run I stream at twitch.tv/Mr. Fanatic, and I do music for a living. You can find all my music on every platform under the name Fanatic. I also run the Fanatic panel on Wednesdays. And I also run the Nigga panel on Tuesdays from 5 to 7, and I think 5:30 to 8:30 on Wednesdays. Sometimes we try to like aim for 2 weeks. For 2 hours. Prime was there on the last panel, on the Nigga panel, and it went incredibly well. And it's only intelligent people who are actually willing to have conversations and not just scream and yell and act like idiots over everyone. Next week we have really great guests lined up. We have Trihex, Low Tier God, Abba, from Abba and Preach, and a few more guests. And we're going to be discussing some pretty hot topics. You guys can check that out on the YouTube channel, Ask Fanatic.
I'm gonna have to see that.
I just hope you guys would check that out. I appreciate you guys all for letting me be part of this conversation, specifically Prime. It has been entirely too long. Obviously, I love All Black Everything because this is one of the best panels that are on all of Twitch. Pick black folks, pick niggas. I love you guys, and I will probably try to be here next week.
All right, have a good
I'm trying to get on that nigga panel.
All right, peace out.
You ain't-